Hello there, my name is Codey Bean, and we are going to be transforming that van into a off-grid Moto gaming camper van. So let's talk about that. Well, a little bit of background about myself. My name is Codey Bean, and I recently just graduated from college, which was absolutely the most rigorous challenge I've ever faced in my entire life. But during that process, I was also dreaming about going on this cross-country van trip, both with my dirt bike 2021 YZ250F and also my Harley Davidson Street 750. What my plan was to build this van out to carry both motorcycles as well as myself and living essentials. So I've been trying to find ways to design that because obviously a motorcycle is not a small object, and a van, the inside of a van is already very small, and I do not have the high roof. But this has also been a very good engineering challenge for myself, as I just graduated from engineering. I graduated college with an energy systems engineering degree from the Massachusetts Maritime Academy, so that also had some sort of regiment to it, so I have like a military lifestyle, I guess you could call. They have very good engineering programs for hands-on stuff. I wanted to travel cross-country with just the motorcycle now because the dirt bike, for one, is actually broken, and two, knowing myself, the moment that I get out on the track and actually am able to ride the dirt bike, I'd probably injure myself and ruin the one shot that I had at doing this whole van trip for a couple months, or 1 month to 2 months, I guess would be the ideal time period for that trip. I wanted to do this trip before I started my real job after graduating college because I knew that this would be the one time where I genuinely am free. I don't have any stresses, I don't got nothing, but that might actually be kind of a lie now because I actually have a job interview soon. Don't tell anyone, but I'm already halfway through the trip right now. I had to come home for the interview. Don't tell anyone that though. As far as you guys are concerned, we just started building this or just started thinking about this. And it's also June. Oh, I totally forgot to mention the other awesome half of the build is that I wanted it to be also a gaming computer, or a gaming build, I should say. So yeah, not only am I taking up space with the motorcycle, but I wanted to have a gaming setup as well. So that's just a challenge in itself to, for one, find a spot for a bed. The motorcycle, the computer setup, I guess, isn't that big of a deal, but having to deal with the electrical system that comes with that, because you obviously cannot run a gaming setup if you only have like an hour worth of battery life. So that proposed a challenge in itself, or it's a very interesting challenge, and I'm excited to tackle this and make it however I want. I actually tried to do this project for my senior design class. Junior year of college, we have to do a senior project and design something and try to build it and make it happen, but the teacher didn't like our sales pitch on that one, so we had to change it up. I think I'm going to learn a lot. Not only about space management, but time management and everything else too. I think it's going to be a really good project to learn from, especially for a beginner engineer like myself, I guess you could say. But yeah, let's go to my very high-tech modeling program and let's talk about the designs that I have come up with and talk about also the components that are going to go into it that we have to make fit into this entire build. Here is my spreadsheet of stuff that I have bought, kind of planned out, I guess you could say. So all the big products I listed as stock needed. Those are going to be the big purchases for the van that kind of make up all the main components. So one being the ceiling fan. I got a Max Air fan, and I have all the links for this. I'll probably just end up making a copy of it and I'm throwing it in as a link to the description. So if you're interested in that, then check it out below. I do have a fridge planned out. This is just a chest style fridge, and then the this cover comes up, swings up this way. The hinge is back here, and then it comes up. So it's not tall, but it is lengthy. The sink water pump, the sink, those aren't quite a necessity, but I would like to have a sink, especially I think it would just make it a lot easier for cooking and stuff like that. But the lights, I did have these little recessed lights that go into my ceiling, and then I think they recess about 3/4 of an inch into the ceiling, so I don't have to go that low. And that was one of the big challenges too, was because of the height of the handlebars on the dirt bike. It's tough because I didn't know if the handlebars were going to be too tall to, well, I guess at the end of the day I can always just rotate my bars down a little bit, but that just adds an extra step, and I'm pretty lazy, so I'd rather not do that. So if I can plan around that and make my ceiling not as high, or not as low hanging so that the handlebars get caught up in the ceiling when loading the bike in, that would be ideal. But the sink drain, the sink faucet, those are pretty self-explanatory. But then we get into the electrical stuff. So my power consumption, I split up in between the 12 volt power consumption and the 120 volt after the inverter, because the inverter is only 90% efficient, so you're gonna have some losses just turning that thing on. So I kind of tried to stick with 12 volts for everything except for computer, the monitor. It's kind of honestly about it. So my power consumption is rated down here below between 12 volts and 120 volts, even though this is like a false rating because this is including the computer under load playing a video game, and then the computer at idle just kind of chilling McGrilling, and then also my laptop too, which isn't quite a requirement. So realistically, we're probably looking at about like 200-ish watts when the computer and monitor are just on by themselves, and then probably about 400 when the computer's under load playing a video game, which isn't bad. I wanted to have 400 amp hours of battery life, which comes out to be 400 amp hours times 12, right? 4,800 watt hours, so 4.8 kilowatt hours. Taking that 4,800, you divide that by whatever the power consumption was for, let's see, what was it, like 300? So then we would have about 16 hours of computer playing time and monitor on time before the battery dies. But all the batteries kind of have some sort of they don't want you to run too low on their system, so most of them have you only depleted to about 50%. So if you realistically want to go through that, that'd be about 8 hours of playtime, which is still pretty good. But then you also got to factor in all the other things too, like the ceiling fan that's going to take up 60 watts at max. That's at 12 volts as well. The fridge is 45 volts max, or watts max. The sink water pump is 60. I don't know if that's running consistent or if that's the surge that comes in when turning the thing on, because when you have a water pump or just a pump in general, usually inrush current is about 5 times more than the actual constant running. And then you have 8 lights. That comes out to be about 213 watts. So yes, all of this can it adds up pretty fast, but I think we'll be good. So for the electrical system, I ended up choosing two 200 amp hour AGM batteries from Renogy. I think these will be good because they're good with high current loads, just like the inverter, and then also the computer is going to be taking up high wattage. So I didn't plan on doing solar right off the rip, I guess you could say. I did want it to be an option later down the road, so I got this DC to DC charger, which will then have the alternator of the van charge the starter battery as well as the house batteries. We'll label the 200 amp hour house batteries as house batteries. With this DC to DC charger, it's pretty cool because you can do both alternator charging as well as solar. Oh, you can't see it. If you look at those blue labels, you can see that the first one is the alternator, the second one is the solar, and then the third one would be the battery, and then the fourth one, I don't even know what that is. Probably just detecting if the battery exists or not, or if it's good. But it was pretty cool having the option because I don't see solar being outruled later down the road. It just right now I don't really find a need for it because I think I'll be driving a lot more than sitting. So solar wouldn't really benefit me there if the van's going to be on all the time. And the 1000 watt inverter, since I tried to split all my stuff up and try to keep everything 12 volts, I don't need that big of an inverter, so I just went with 1000. I also try to keep everything from the same company, from Renogy, because I knew that if anything was to go wrong, then I know who to blame. For the sink, I ended up choosing just 2 5-gallon water jugs. These are just square. Oh, the cellular modem, that's a good one too. Yeah, we're going to have Wi-Fi in here, so let's add that one over here. Yep, that's right. We're going to have Wi-Fi in the van. Yeah, I guess that's kind of it for the big purchases so far. It's not really a ton to go over in this. It's more just how are we going to fit it all in there is probably the better term. So let's go to our high-tech modeling software, and then we'll get to that. Okay, now we are in the high-tech modeling software, so we can start testing this out. So my plan was, and this is going to be from a top view, so this is going to be like if you were on the top of the van looking down at the roof through the roof. Just try to make that clear to everyone. I think that would be the easiest way of looking at this. So let's say that's the van. That's the inside of the van. Then you got, let's see, should we just freehand this? Oh yeah, high-tech 3D modeling. Let's say that here, we got the steering wheel here, we got the driver's seat here. Oh, this is funny. So this would be the passenger seat, but what's cool about this passenger seat, it's actually it wasn't listed on my my spreadsheet. But right here, we're going to have a swivel seat. This is going to be a swivel seat so that I can rotate this whole thing around so I can be facing this way. I think that would be the ideal thing to do. To save space is not having an extra chair in the back of the van and instead use the chairs that are already there. Should I go over the first couple designs that I had about this? Yeah, why not? Alright, so the first design I actually had was when I wanted both the dirt bike and the motorcycle inside of the van. So in my head, I was thinking, okay, well, they only really take up about 1/3 of the width of the van. That I was going to have, like, say, a motorcycle here, and then I would end up putting a wall this way and this way so that the garage section would actually be completely closed off, and then this would be my bed in this area right here. I mean, I'm not a big kid. I'm built like a pool noodle. It just makes sense to me to have a small space. But we ultimately started to change that because we're not taking both bikes anymore. So now the plan that I came up with was actually to have a wall just about here, a wall just about here, and then the motorcycle would go in this section right here. So this would actually be my utility cabinet right here. It would be nice to have a door on it, but I don't know if that's going to work with the swing of the doors. I was also thinking if the utility cabinet is kind of open to the air, then it would cool a lot faster, because obviously electricity conducts heat. There's going to be a lot of heat probably coming out of that, especially with the giant batteries, all the DC to DC charger, the inverter, everything is going to be in that cabinet. So I don't want it to be super closed off to where it could be a possible fire hazard. So I think that will be open. But essentially what's going to happen if we're looking at it from the front of the view, this would be the utility cabinet. First battery is going to go in here. I'll have another platform. Second battery here. We'll list that off, and then all the electrical components. So like I don't know, this will be like fuse panel. We'll have like the DC to DC charger here, the inverter here, something like that. And then for this little area over here, let's just like color code things, why not? The red will be my kitchen. I was also thinking having the sink back here, because if I have a pull down faucet with that the spray nozzle or whatever, extend it to the back of the van and possibly shower myself with it. But if you're looking at the kitchen like this from the front, so like if you were standing here and looking at it this way, it would look like this. So probably, I don't know if I want to do like drawers and stuff. Probably honestly just keep it simple and just have like doors, something like that. Looks fantastic. But stuff that'll go under there. I don't think the fridge is going to be able to fit under there just because of the limited space that there is because of the wheel well that's like right here. It's like right in literally smack in the middle of the cabinet. Fridge will probably actually end up being under here if I make a platform. And that's also where my bed's going to be too. That's essentially my kitchen. So in my head, I wanted to put the computer monitor here on this wall facing the swivel seat, which also means that I'm going to need to have a little cabinet. I mean, not cabinet, a table like right here. And that's going to be my table, my desk, I guess you could say. I need space for the computer, and my measurements show that if I put the computer here, and then I also have a subwoofer, so the subwoofer also fit like right here perfectly. And then the fridge perfectly fit just about here. And then on top of all these three things, I'll have a platform that goes across. Blue's going to be under, purple's going to be on top of the blue. Something like that is probably what's going to happen. And then probably go across like this as well. And then I'll have probably another flip up thing right here. The perfect thing for me was that since I'm small, I mean, I'm only like 5'9" or something. I don't even know what I actually am, but I can't fit width-wise of the van from here to here, because this is actually like 5 foot. I measured it out, and if I put my head here, and I slept like this, oh, I don't know why my feet look like that. If I slept like this, I kind of perfectly fit. I was like, that's genius. So then, on top of me sleeping there, I think if I made all these panels with like hinges on them so they could flip up so I could have access to whatever's under them, that would be perfect. This whole thing is going to flip down, so then it'll essentially look like this when it's flipped down, so I can walk from the driver's seat to the passenger seat. And then this blue desk from the computer desk will also flip up like this way. Oh, and then I'll be able to walk through like this to get to the back and access everything else that's back there as well. So that's kind of my plan for the van, I guess. I do want to mention that the van somewhat has already been built, because like I said, I had that 2-bike idea with the wall like that. So I already somewhat started building it, but the wall is it's set up like this one now from the time that you're going to be seeing it. It looks like that, but the floor has already been insulated, and then the ceiling has insulation on it, but it's already like broken off. So the first video is probably gonna be me fixing all that and then getting everything ready for the ceiling and then finishing the walls too. So be on the lookout for that. I think that's going to be the first video for the van build. Let me know if you guys come up with anything that might be able to help me with this build. I'm definitely open to different ideas and everything like that. But yeah, that's kind of my build at the moment. If you guys enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like, comment something that's going on with your van build, or if you come up with anything that could help me with mine. And then make sure to subscribe for more. Hit that bell notification icon to get notifications every time that I upload. And then I guess we'll see you guys in the first build video.